You don't have any air supply of your own. They're going to drag you 200 feet across the bottom of this tank while you're acting.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 actors who almost died on set.
I just knew that if I wanted to live, it was my choice. If I wanted to die, that was my choice too.
For this list, we're looking at the actors that nearly lost their lives to their roles, and the stunts, mistakes, and mishaps that nearly paved the way. We've excluded brave stunt doubles, as they've gone into the profession knowing what they signed up for. What on-set near-death story did you find most shocking? Let us know in the comments. Number 20, Dylan O'Brien, Maze Runner: The Death Cure.
You can't save everyone, Thomas.
I could try.
A post-apocalyptic world doesn't make for a safe work environment, apparently. In March of 2016, it was reported that actor Dylan O'Brien had been struck by a car while on set working on The Death Cure, resulting in multiple injuries. The exact nature of the injuries were not initially revealed to the public, but he was rushed to the hospital.
Oh, he got his bell rung. I would imagine many who witnessed it thought that was it.
The production was initially put on hold for a little under 2 months before being extended indefinitely. It was close to a full calendar year before shooting resumed. It turns out that Dylan had suffered a facial fracture, concussion, and brain trauma, as well as other injuries.
You know, it was a really personal and scary thing to go through.
Number 19, Jackie Chan, Armor of God. Jackie Chan is well known for performing his own stunts. In this particular one, the stunt resulted in him falling over 16 feet from a tree. For Armor of God, while attempting to jump from a wall toward a branch, Chan landed hard, and in the process, his skull collided with a rock. This pushed bone into his brain, which required surgery to remove. Everyone's favorite martial artist still has a hole in his head, though it's been filled with a plastic plug. Luckily, Chan seemingly escaped the incident without lasting brain damage. More on his stunt work later. Number 18, Isla Fisher, Now You See Me.
Okay, Los Angeles, are we ready to end this thing? Yeah!
Remember when escapologist and magician Henley Reeves pretends to be stuck in a tank of water as piranhas pour in?
A tank full of flesh-eating piranhas will fall from above. A lady has to have handcuffs, right, girls?
Well, it turns out pretending to be stuck and being stuck look very similar. During the filming of this Now You See Me scene, actress Isla Fisher banged on the glass to tell the cast and crew she was stuck. But since that's what her character was supposed to do, no one thought much of it. Thankfully, she managed to free herself in time. Practical effects shouldn't need to be this real. What happened to movie magic?
Whoever thought of this is a sick sadist!
Number 17, Viggo Mortensen, The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Depending on who you ask, Mortensen came close to dying in Middle-earth twice. Viggo almost drowned doing one of his own stunts, which is well established. Aragorn was supposed to be doing a dead man's float down the river, but the speed of the current, coupled with the weight of his costume, made for real danger.
So in any case, I didn't float to exactly the same spot they had, and I hit this spot where the current hit this rock and went straight down.
Mortensen was pulled underwater and nearly stayed there. But it's also been reported that a scene where Aragorn deflects the Uruk-hai's throwing knife was actually a mistake, and the deflection was actually self-preservation. Planned or accidental, Viggo's clearly got some survival skills.
And I guess I must have eventually, kicked against the wall or the rock and got just out of where this current was pushing down, came out of it, and it was really scary.
Number 16, Kate Winslet, Titanic. Few things are scarier than a near drowning incident. Can you imagine having to run from a giant wave? During the Titanic scene in question, Kate Winslet caught her coat on a gate and got pulled underwater. James Cameron continues to dismiss the idea that she was in any real danger, claiming they only let her think she was going to drown.
Give me your hand!
He also claims to know what he's talking about because he's almost drowned on many occasions. Let's put this incident aside for a second and ask ourselves, why does James Cameron keep nearly drowning?
Oh, God!
Number 15, Ed Harris, The Abyss.
Your depth is 3,200 feet. You're doing fine.
James Cameron consistently pushes the boundaries of visual effects, but when it comes to water scenes, he prefers the old-fashioned way. Titanic wasn't the first time Cameron reportedly almost led a cast member to a watery grave. Just ask Ed Harris. For one particularly elaborate scene in The Abyss, Harris was dragged without oxygen many feet underwater. When he ran out of air, Harris called to cut, but due to complications, he wasn't given oxygen until he was on the edge of passing out. According to the actor, the traumatic episode caused him to weep that night. Rumor has it, he also punched Cameron in the face.
You don't have any air supply of your own. They're going to drag you 200 feet across the bottom of this tank while you're acting.
Number 14, Jaimie Alexander, Thor: The Dark World and Blind Spot. This Sif actress got defeated by the most humble of foes in the second Thor flick, A Flight of Stairs.
You might want to take the stairs to the left.
After tripping over in heels, Jaimie Alexander chipped 11 vertebrae, knocked out her left shoulder, slipped a spinal disc, and tore a rhomboid. Don't worry though, she was largely healed and back to filming within a month.
Good. Let's go.
However, we couldn't finish this entry without mentioning the injury she sustained on the American crime drama Blind Spot. During a Today appearance, the actress needed to consult her smartphone to remember the multitude of injuries she sustained on set.
Herniated disc, T3, T4, T8, T9, broken nose, dislocated right shoulder, broken right index finger, broken left foot, left 2 toes 3 times.
The only conclusion you can make is she's a real-life Asgardian warrior. Number 13, Sylvester Stallone, Rocky IV.
There's the bell for the opening round, and Rocky Balboa comes out to the center of the ring. Got the Russian right back into Balboa's corner now.
By the time Stallone was filming the first Expendables movie, he was already in his 60s, but he was still doing many of his own stunts and fight scenes. This resulted in an inadvertent neck fracture for the Italian stallion, courtesy of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Look at me, you piece of trash.
It wasn't his first onset injury, of course. While filming Rocky IV, Stallone once asked his mountain of a co-star to punch him as hard as he could. His co-star, Dolph Lundgren, obliged and sent Stallone to the hospital with a swollen heart. Without medical attention, it's very likely Stallone would have died from the punch. Number 12, Michael J. Fox, Back to the Future Part 3. The Back to the Future series isn't known for its realism. The time-traveling car and flying skateboards made sure of that. Yet one scene of the trilogy was all too real for lead Michael J. Fox.
Hot time we had a hang here.
In the series' final installment, Marty McFly is captured by bandits and hung with a noose until the Doc rescues him. If McFly's squirming looks genuine, it's because the actor really was being hung. He even passed out for half a minute before he was saved. Luckily, director Robert Zemeckis caught on in time that, in the words of Michael J. Fox, he wasn't that good of an actor.
But it's good to see you, Marty.
Number 11, Kevin Costner, Waterworld. Waterworld is widely considered to be one of the greatest cinematic failures in the history of the industry. From production through to the box office, everything that could go wrong did. For one scene, Kevin Costner was strapped to the mast of his character's boat 40 feet in the air. When a storm picked up, conditions proved too difficult to get Costner down safely, and he was left there to be assaulted by the storm for 30 minutes. The Hawaiian set was regularly hammered by brutal weather, but unable to shield himself from this particular storm, Costner claims it nearly cost him his life. Number 10, Halle Berry, various films. This Academy Award-winning actress has had more than her fair share of on-set accidents. While filming Die Another Day, a stunt involving a helicopter resulted in Berry getting shrapnel in her eye, which had to be medically removed. On the set of Gothica, Robert Downey Jr. accidentally broke her arm while shooting a confrontational scene. And on 2 occasions, Berry's actually suffered head trauma. While shooting Catwoman, lighting equipment hit her over the head, and in 2012, she hit her head on a concrete floor during a fight scene for The Call. Thankfully, neither proved serious. Number 9. Johnny Depp, The Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger already had to suffer being panned by audiences and critics, but imagine how much hate it would have received if it had been the cause of Johnny Depp's demise.
I am Tonto of the Comanche, last of the Wendigo hunters.
During one horseback riding scene, Depp's saddle slipped. Johnny held onto the horse's mane before letting go and falling in front of the horse. Luckily, the horse's hooves just missed his head, meaning he received only minor wounds from the fall.
But I cannot decide whether this horse is stupid or pretending to be stupid.
Obviously, Depp survived, and the only thing the film did any permanent damage to was his career. Number 8. Eli Wallach, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I get dressed, I kill him, be right back.
Wallach has had his fair share of accidents, but they all happened during a single film. While shooting Sergio Leone's masterpiece, Eli nearly bit the dust a whopping 3 times. In one instance, he had to be rushed to the hospital after someone left a bottle of acid next to his prop bottle of soda, which he drank. Another time, a bound Wallach was put at risk when the horse he was mounted to was spooked and ran off for a mile. And then there was the incident where he was nearly decapitated by the heavy iron steps of a speeding train. Remarkably, he survived, dying at age 98 in 2014. Number 7. Jason Statham, The Expendables 3. You'd feel pretty safe hanging out with the Terminator, Rambo, and Terry Crews, wouldn't you?
I think we should get this over with.
In fact, when these guys are together, the biggest fear might be that the continent they're on could run out of protein.
This guy's got more muscle than a cartel king.
Maybe he's overcompensating for something.
Yet Jason Statham did nearly die doing a stunt for The Expendables 3.
How much we get paid for this? Not enough.
While driving a truck, the brakes gave out and the actor drove off a cliff into the Black Sea. The transporters driving may have let him down, but fortunately, his expert-level diving skills helped him escape the wreckage and swim to shore.
You alright? Yeah?
Number 6. Aaron Paul, Breaking Bad. Did you know that Jesse Pinkman was supposed to be killed off in the first season of Breaking Bad?
I'm your partner, man. You should have told me.
The idea was ditched early on because, Jesse's awesome.
Badass from what I hear.
But the writers may never have had the chance to save Jesse if Aaron Paul wasn't a perfectionist. In episode 6 of the first season, Paul asked to change the position where he was standing. This was very lucky because a boulder fell down off the roof of an RV and landed exactly where Aaron had been standing during the filming of the scene.
Mr. White, it's too risky. Okay? I mean, we're making money. Why can't you just be satisfied with the way it is?
Come on! Jesus!
Number 5. Martin Sheen, Apocalypse Now.
Don't you think it's a little risky for R&R?
An infamously troubled shoot, the cast and crew of the critically acclaimed film have said that, much like Marlon Brando's Colonel Kurtz, many involved in the production kind of lost their minds. Those involved partied very, very hard, getting lost in the jungle atmosphere and losing themselves in their roles. Martin Sheen, who was already hitting the bottle, began to lean even more heavily into alcohol throughout the high-stress shoot. Ultimately, his body responded in the form of a heart attack and nervous breakdown. He survived, but the entire experience would continue to haunt him for years.
That if I wanted to live, it was my choice. If I wanted to die, that was my choice too.
Number 4. Tom Hanks, Castaway. Tragedy nearly struck when actor and generally nice bloke Tom Hanks cut himself on the set of this adventure drama. While only a minor cut, it quickly became infected.
Over here! Help me, help! Right here, right here!
When he finally went to the hospital, a doctor told him the cut could poison his blood, so Hanks was kept in the hospital.
We live and we die by time, don't we?
This incident set filming back 3 weeks, but Hanks fully recovered, and we're certainly glad he didn't die. Who would have broken the news to Wilson?
Oh, never again! Never again, never again.
Number 3. Jim Caviezel, The Passion of the Christ.
let her come.
Shooting in the countryside outside of Rome, the cast and crew of The Passion of the Christ continued to work through some less than favorable weather conditions. While recreating the Sermon on the Mount, Jim Caviezel was literally struck by lightning. He walked away unscathed, but he clearly got off lucky. Roughly 24,000 people die from lightning each year, although very few of them are actors. Assistant director Jan Michelini, who was standing beside Caviezel, also got struck, although for him it was the second time in production. Think somebody was trying to tell them something? Number 2. Tom Cruise, The Last Samurai. The Last Samurai is about as close to 2 hours of pure sword porn as a film can get. Combine this with the fact that Tom Cruise likes to do his own stunts, and it seems like he was bound to get hurt on its set. In one scene, Cruise and his Japanese co-star were seated on mechanical horses. These two horses were hurtled towards each other, and his fellow actor's sword missed Cruise's neck by an inch, thanks to his martial arts skills.
I think a man does what he can.
Still, that was relatively tame. Another fight scene featuring 4 attackers apparently had 70 instances in which Cruise could have been wounded.
I should have died so many times before.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Charlize Theron, Aeon Flux. Margaret Hamilton, The Wizard of Oz.
You cursed brat! Look what you've done! I'm melting! Melting!
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Premium Rush. Brendan Fraser, The Mummy. Matthew Fox, Lost. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Jackie Chan, Police Story. This action legend has put life and limb on the line enough times to earn his stunt work top 10 lists of its own. Of course, with that sort of commitment comes serious risk. One of Chan's scariest on-set moments came while filming Police Story, which he wrote and directed himself. The 1985 film included a scene where he had to slide down a 70-foot pole surrounded by string lights. For his trouble, he received second-degree burns, a dislocated pelvis, and 2 damaged vertebrae in his spine. Chan not only survived, but also went on to film countless other awe-inspiring feats. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.